awesome. I'm so awesome. Guys, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy Heroes video. I'm Zuko.
And I'm Exum.
And this is The High Ground.
Today we wanted to talk about the Sith raid. So we know everybody's been kind of struggling with the Sith raid, and we've been deciding how do we want to like attack it, what are the best teams for it, how we want to invest. And we know what it's like to hold on to Zetas and not know what you want to invest in. So what we've done over this past week is kind of go on Reddit, go through YouTube, and just do the research. We've been on SWGOH.gg reading the Zeta leaderships and all the Zetas. And just what we've decided to do for this video is give you guys a list of the top 10 Zeta leaderships that we think are the most helpful in the raid. From what we read and also from searching it up and seeing examples on the internet.
Definitely. This is hopefully going to help a lot of you guys out. I know that when we went through it and we kind of broke it down, it really put some things into perspective, you know, for us, for teams that we should start to build, and for certain characters that we should be building up to be able to Zeta them. So let's start with the list, okay? So at the top we have RJT. So RJT, obviously you guys have seen there's been a lot of videos that have come out recently about, you know, the Sith raid, and the one team that keeps dominating is Rey Jedi training. And it's for good. Even after the nerf, you know, and it's for good reason. You know, her leadership ability really adds a lot, and her as a character, she's a very strong character. In our opinions, we believe the developers released her again because she opened up today, the 15th. And we think that they did that because they understood that, you know, this raid is very, very difficult, and they've heard our complaints, and, you know, a lot of people have been a little angry about it. And so they tried to give us the one character that they know is the best for the raid. They try to see if more guilds can get more people to have her to help them, you know, complete the raid. So that's pretty cool. That's something that we think. We don't know, obviously, but that would be a pretty cool reason. What her leadership adds to this is when a resistance ally uses a special ability, all exposed enemies lose 5% turn meter. This effect can't be resisted, and if the resistance ally has no debuffs, reset their cooldowns by 1. So this is a fantastic ability, especially if you're running her, which you should be always with BB-8 and R2 at least. Now, what we're seeing to really be the best team, the best team makeup is with, you know, RJT, BB-8, R2, Resistance Trooper, and Rey Scavenger. So you got 5 different resistance characters that's going to be feeding the turn meter constantly. It's going to be reducing their team turn meter whenever BB-8 shoots off his Illuminated Destiny as well. So it can really help to do a lot of damage. What we've seen be the best so far is definitely the first and second phases. You know, we have a guy in our guild in the tier 6, he was doing 10 million damage in both the first and second phase with this team. So she's a great leadership to have.
Yeah. The next person in this list is, we say Thrawn is the second best leader. Thrawn with Imperial troopers behind him has been seen to do like over 3 million damage. Which once you hit over 2 million damage is really like the top echelon. Most of these teams are going to be 2 million plus. So what Thrawn's leadership actually adds is whenever an Empire ally gains or loses a status effect, they regain 2% protection. So the best phase for Thrawn has been phase 2. And that's where I think the leadership comes into play. Definitely. In phase 1, Thrawn, there is a really good team with Thrawn, with Magma Trooper and Death Trooper, which has been seen. You can do 2 million plus there. But in phase 2, when looking specifically at the Zeta, that's where it would be applied. You can get away with Thrawn in phase 1 without the Zeta. But in phase 2, you have a character, Darth Sion, who's not going through protection and straight to health. He's got to get through your protection first and then get to your health. So when you have this recovery of 2% protection whenever an ally suffers a debuff or a status effect or whatever, you're gaining that protection back. So you're kind of, you know, staying alive longer.
And what's great is, like he said, if you're running it with Imperial troopers, you should have Veers. Well, Zeers. You should have a Zeta on Zeers. On Veers is unique. He's also providing protection for all Imperial trooper allies. So in the second phase, I mean, you're constantly regaining protection, which is huge when you're facing somebody like Sion who's doing massive amounts of damage. So it's really, it's a great Zeta investment.
Yeah, especially because you want to stack those cycle of pains to hit harder yourself, but in return, he's hitting you harder. So you really need this protection and regeneration to stay alive longer.
Definitely. All right, so the next on our list, number 3, is Vader. So what the Zeta is actually adding to this ability is the plus 25% turn meter reduction chance, plus 10% turn meter reduction, and enemies immediately regain damage over time for 2 turns whenever damage over time expires on them while Darth Vader is alive. This is a fantastic leadership ability. Again, reducing turn meter is going to be huge in any raid. So the fact that you can be constantly reducing turn meter from, you know, the bosses that you're facing is going to be huge with Vader. We've seen some of these teams do upwards of 2 million. So it's been really cool. This is a really great team to run. You can run it again with Sith behind and run it with a Palpatine in there as well. It can be a really great team. It can help you do a lot of damage.
Yeah, you really want to run this in Phase 1 and Phase 3. Those are the ones that allow for turn meter reduction against Traya, against Nihilus. And that's where we found that Darth Vader does most of his damage. Again, when you're kind of trying to diversify like some Empire characters to Thrawn's leadership or some Empire characters to Veers, if you just want to run Imperial troopers, then you bring in the Sith to back Darth Vader up. So you got to find where you want to use him in Phase 1, Phase 3, depending on how you play the game, which phase you feel more comfortable with. And then the next character is almost identical, Asajj Ventress. What the Zeta itself adds is the plus 25 turn meter reduction chance, plus 10% turn meter reduction. Night Sisters gain 50% turn meter whenever they fall below 100% health. So what works here is she's very similar to Zeta Leadership.
Yeah.
She has this unresistible turn meter reduction. So you're able to use it in phases 1 and 3 to be able to keep Traya and Nihilus from attacking as much as you can, as long as they're backed. You want her to be backed by Night Sisters. So the great thing about Asajj's leadership for phase 1 specifically is that whenever they fall below 100% health, they gain turn meter. So this turn meter gain is going to happen constantly if you can get them all back to 100% health, because you know Nihilus is going straight through their protection. And in phase 3, Asajj is the best one to be able to take down all 3 of the minions, the lightsabers. Yeah. So you really find that these teams do plus 2 million damage in all the research that we've done, and Asajj's leadership is very similar to Vader's.
Yeah, she's fantastic. I mean, guys, we knew that from before in the HAAT. They introduced somebody like Mother Talzin, and still people prefer to run Asajj's leadership, because I mean it's such a great Zeta investment. So you couldn't go wrong with that. If you have a Night Sister team, if you just love the Night Sisters, definitely I would say to go with Asajj.
Yeah.
All right. So next on the list is Kylo Ren Unmasked. Again, health and protection regeneration in this raid is going to be key. You got to survive. So what this Zeta Leadership is actually adding is it's adding 15% more critical damage. It's adding 5 speed, 5% turn meter gain, and when they fall and when a first or ally gains a status effect, they recover 5% health and 5% protection. So that's what the Zeta is adding. And if you're looking at that already, just based on the 5% health and the 5% protection, this Zeta, in my opinion, for this raid, this Zeta Leadership is 100% worth it. So we have him ranked at number 5. We love this. We love the team that you can run with. The only reason that we put him kind of in the middle of the pack is because what we've seen to do the most damage is when he's partnered with Executioner. Yeah. And Executioner, we all understand right now, is a pay-to-play character. Now, he can still do, I think it's upwards of 1.5 million, almost to 2, without him, without Panda. But definitely that's where he works best. But sitting there with 5% health and 5% protection, you can use him again in the Nihilus phase, because he's going to be getting health back. You can use him in Sion's phase, because again, he's going to be getting, protection. And he's going to be hitting like a truck with the 15 more critical damage that he adds. And you can use him in phase 3. He's basically a character you can use in every single phase. And that's important because, like I said, we said this earlier, RJT, best 1 and 2. All these other leaderships we provide you, Thrawn, they're the best for certain phases. It's really cool that you have a leader that can really help you out in whichever phase. So you're already using RJT. She dies, in Heroic, you can't use her again. Same thing with Thrawn, same thing with Vader. What do? You can plug in Kylo Ren Unmasked, because you know that he can do a good amount of damage in whatever one of those 3 phases.
Yeah, what's super helpful, you might be asking yourself, why phase 1 and phase 3? In phase 1 and phase 3, you're getting a lot of debuffs, because Nihilus puts the defense down whenever you use a basic, and you have, in phase 3, the swords.
With
they're
the stagger,
always giving you stagger or days or whatever, so you're at least regaining protection and health there. I think the most optimal one is Sion's phase, but let's say you cleared your guild helped you clear Sion's phase. Well, Kylo Ren is not useless in phase 3. You're able to plug him in there and get some damage. So it's, again, we're giving you guys what we think, the order and what they're useful for. Now you with your guild needs to strategically plan out where you're gonna plug in each team.
Exactly, and you know, it's all about also the characters you put around these leaders.
Yeah.
Okay, we're giving you guys the leaders, and we're saying that we love their abilities, and we give
And
a
we've
couple
seen
of times,
teams that work,
sometimes, but it all depends on who you have to throw in there with them to maximize, you know, their potential. But Kylo Ren Unmasked, great option. I really like it. Let me just say one thing. I want to let you know this is a Star Wars fan, and he just called them swords. He didn't say lightsabers. He said swords. Okay? Yeah.
My bad. So the next leadership we have is Mother Talzin Zeta. So what her leader Zeta adds is when a Night Sister ally uses a basic ability during their turn, a random defeated Night Sister ally is revived with 50% health and called to assist. Then the revived ally is immediately defeated, and so on and so forth. So Mother Talzin has been seen to be very effective in phases 2 and 3. And phase 3 has been probably the hardest phase for everybody to find teams for.
God bless.
So that's where her Zeta leadership comes in. You're gonna be losing Night Sisters with the lightsabers, not swords, with the lightsabers constantly attacking you, and Traya herself, and all the damage that she's doing with her special ability in that phase. So having the ability to, even though you lose your allies, they can still come back and help you do damage. That's what makes Mother Talzin's leadership ability so good in this phase. It's the hardest one, and you're still able to put damage even if you're losing characters. So there's like things, strategies you gotta focus on. Like if you lose Odaka, you might need to retreat. You know, there's some RNG that comes with every single one of these abilities. Everything we do in this game comes down to RNG. But Mother Talzin's Zeta has been proven to be a very helpful one in this raid. From all the preliminary teams that we've been seeing, Mother Talzin definitely makes the list.
Definitely, and especially like he said, you know, with phase 3 and phase 2. Because think about it, what makes her leadership so incredible, in my opinion, is she gains a lot of speed, and the turn meter's great, you know, with that. But what's amazing with her is the fact that she can bring somebody back, and if you kill somebody, that Night Sister ally is revived, and they can help you out. So and lightsabers, you're constantly killing the lightsabers, and you're constantly killing. There's like what 3 or 4 minions around Sion in phase 2.
Yeah,
I think it's 3. So that's another one where you're always constantly killing somebody else. You're not just only hitting Sion. That's fantastic to keep bringing back Night Sister allies. It can be really, really useful. Again, this team is going to probably get you around 2 to 3, in between 2 to 3 million damage, which in this raid, guys, is the best we're going to get so far. Yeah. Unless it's RJT. So number 7 on the list is Garr Saxon. I love this one. I think this is super cool. It's, you know, it's interesting. This is a guy that he's been in the game now for what, 10 months maybe? Yeah. Maybe a little bit less. But nobody's really found a really good use for him until now. And his Zeta leadership is amazing for this raid, especially in phases 2. Phase 2. Let's just talk
phase 2 is the one we've seen.
That's optimal.
The actual, like when we're doing research, this is where we've actually seen stuff happen.
What the Zeta adds is whenever an Empire ally uses a basic attack, they recover 5% health. So let's talk about this. He is like CLS, but for Empire, in the sense that all Empire allies are going to be countering like crazy. And when you have Sion, who's hitting his AoE, and you have all his little minions around him constantly attacking, you're going to be countering like crazy. So you're going to be countering so much that his cycle of pain and all that stuff that they're constantly hurting you, he'll be regaining his health with his basic attacks from the counters. So we've seen this team do upwards of, what was it?
It was 2.2 million damage.
2.2 million
in
damage.
phase 2.
Yeah, and it was, thank you
to Obi's Corner. Yeah. Thank you for letting us show footage, which we'll be showing right now. We'll leave you the link to your channel in the description below. You guys can check him out. He's super nice. He's like, yeah, guys, show the video. So we're able to show you guys proof that, you know, we've been doing research and we found this team and it worked successfully in phase 2. It's
a fantastic team, guys, and anything, once again, I'm going to keep stressing it, that you can regain health in this raid is going to be huge. And the fact that he's basically giving you that ability every single time anybody on his team is hit, they're going to most likely have a 50% counter chance. They're most likely going to be hitting back and regaining their health. It's fantastic. I love this leadership, and I have him currently at 6 stars, and he will definitely be on my top priority list.
So the next leader we have is CLS. So the Zeta itself is whenever an enemy resists a detrimental effect, rebel allies gain 5% turn meter. As you know, a lot of these raids bosses have super high tenacity, so they're constantly resisting your debuffs. And as with your rebel teams, with CLS himself, they have moves that can like put debuffs on, like tenacity down, defense down, all that stuff. Immunity, so whenever that is resisted, you're getting 5% turn meter. And that becomes extremely useful. This has actually been shown in Phase 3. It's kind of a gimmicky team where you're going to use CLS lead mainly for the
counter chance. Yeah.
But this comes as an added bonus, and that's why it's so low on the list. It's at number 8, but it's still very useful. So if you have the Zeta already, then you know, okay, it can be used. So the gimmicky team is that CLS's counter chance is given to Raid Han. And in this team, what you want to do is you want to use standalone with Raid Han, and that's where you want to use as much damage as possible. And whenever he's getting hit, he's countering and all this stuff. If you've checked out McMull's video with the Chex Mix team, that's a good example of how this team works. So CLS's leadership, you can do damage on Sion with this. He's constantly ignoring your debuffs. Yep. Nihilus not so much, because the counter chance is extremely detrimental to you against Nihilus. Because if you're attacking back with basics, he's gaining tenacity, speed, offense, protection, everything. So this is really helpful for phases 2 and phases 3, where you can get upwards of 2 million damage again.
And we know that we've harped a lot on phases 2 and 3 in this video, because really, guys,
that's what we found so far.
Yeah, and phase 1, it's RJT, it's RJT. Guys, do me a favor and try to stress, if you can, to your guild how important it is to get RJT. Okay, she came back now. I don't know how many of you guys have been able to get her, but she is extremely important in this raid. She's a fantastic character. So make sure to try to stress it to your guild to see if a lot of you guys can at least get RJT on your roster. So, number 9 on the list is...
This one's going to be short.
Yeah. This is Chirpa.
Chief Chirpa. You guys might know how we feel about the Ewoks.
The Ewoks, not a big fan of the fuzzies.
No.
Whenever an Ewok ally uses a special ability, they have a 60% chance to call another random Ewok ally to assist. That is the Zeta. The 60% chance to call a random ally to assist, as long as it's an Ewok. Now, no. We are not going to run this team.
Yeah.
But if you already have them, because you've had them, back when this was the team for the HAAT, back when people were doing phase 3 of the HAAT, Chirpa was huge at that point as a leader, then this is great for you to put on your team right now. It is fantastic to use again in phases 2 and 3. Yeah. You don't want to use this in phase 1 when you're going to be hitting Nihilus with a bunch of basic attacks, and every time you call somebody to assist, you're going to be hitting it again with a basic attack. Yeah. So, for all the reasons we already said, don't do that. But phases 2 and 3, this is fantastic to be able to keep adding damage. Yeah. By all these assists and all these extra Ewok allies attacking, it's going to do a great job of making sure that you're doing damage without having to use other characters. It's himself. He helps to call everybody else to assist. More damage dealt, the better it is.
The Ewoks have a healer, which is great for themselves. Them as a faction's pretty solid unit for this raid. And there's also the team combination where you can take out Wicket and put Ahsoka Fulcrum. So with Fulcrum, you're able to get all the buffs that all the Ewoks share, and you're able to do some damage. So that's what this is all about. It's about doing damage. You can do 1.5 to 2 million plus damage with the Ewoks. So
yeah, the fact that
that's why they made the list.
The fact that he's constantly helping them hit harder every single time they use a basic attack, is great for that. It's great to keep doing damage. You're gonna hit about 1.5 to 2 million damage probably with this team, but hey,
which is nothing to laugh at. That's
not at all, especially in this raid, which has been brutal. And especially for little fuzzy bears. So if you have Chirpa because you already farmed him, you already zated him, he's a great person to throw on this. Yeah, he can be used in this raid, and he is number 9 on our list.
Yeah, and number 10 on our list, the last one, is Nihilus. But his leadership reads: Sith allies gain 60% offense and 150% health steal. Sith allies lose all protection and gain that much max health. Sith allies are immune to healing effects that aren't health steal and can't score critical hits. So this comes down to, this entire video has been about, if there's a Zeta leadership that helps you regain health or protection, then there's a place for them in this raid, at least at this current moment.
I agree.
And with 150% health steal, that's an insane amount of health steal that you're going to be getting back. The only withdrawal I have with this leadership is that you're not going to be getting critical hits. And you really do want to get critical hits because you want to score as much damage as possible. But that's why it's number 10. We think it's the 10th best leader for the raid.
Right now.
The 10th best Zeta leadership. And the 150% health steal is going to at least let you hit the Enrage, which is what you're aiming for with all these teams. You want to hit Enrage. You don't want to die before that. You want to get as much time in there as possible. Definitely. You can use your Sith. Nihilus himself is a great character for this raid, because if you can at least get 2 Annihilates off, that's 200,000 damage right there. You want to try and do as many as you can. And that's where the Zeta comes from. If you have it done already, that's really, it's just, he makes number 10. If you have the leadership done, then you can do it. Obviously, you want to hit 1 through 9 before you get to this one, but it's got a place in this rig, we believe.
Yeah, and you know, back when Nihilus first came out and he became so big with this Zeta, I remember, I haven't seen the team use it the way that I wanted to see it, but throwing, in my opinion, throwing in Count Dooku on this, you know, he's constantly going to be countering. You know, you put that against Sion, you put that against Traya. He's, not only is he countering, but every time that he's hitting, he's gaining back 150% of the health steal. So that's huge. That can make, you know, Count Dooku stay alive forever. And we all know how annoying of a character he is when he can hit you 3 times in a row. It just drives me nuts when I used to play him. So I really think that he would benefit greatly from this Zeta in particular in those 2 phases. And again, remember that every time the Sion attacks, he has the ability, he has the chance to hit twice against Sion. That is humongous because that is not a turn that you have to take. So the enrage meter is not going down. You're gaining damage just because he decided to hit Count Dooku. So it's a great thing. It's the same thing we mentioned with, you know, Garr and CLS about, you know, countering helps you do more damage. So we think this is a pretty tanky team. We do believe this Zeta is a little bit of a double-edged sword because yes, it's great with the health steal, but it can also be a little bit of a detriment because again, you can't critically hit, and they're immune to any other types of healing. So if you have another healer on if you like to use another healer, if you have bears or something like that, they can't help you here.
It won't work. But there is one healer that can help you, and that's Chirrut, because Chirrut's heal is not considered a heal, it's an equalizer. Yeah. So if you needed to get around that, you could throw him on. Definitely keep this team alive.
Would not throw him on there though. I would use him like in a CLS for sure. Yeah. But that is true. That is a great option as well.
So the thing with Nihilus is we didn't actually find a video that has him demonstrated. It's just a leadership that we thought would be beneficial. So just keep that in mind. As an honorable mention, really, Darth Maul is someone that we also were thinking about for maybe phase 2 or phase 3, but we couldn't find a video of somebody showing that, and we don't have those Zetas done. Yeah. So they're low. He's like Nihilus is 10th on the list, like we said, but we did want to give you guys that disclosure. And Darth Maul, if you have him, if you know that he works, please let us know in the comments below.
For sure. So guys,
that's our top 10 list.
Yeah, it's our top 10 list of Zeta abilities for leaders, especially, you know, all about this raid and trying to do as much damage as we can for this raid. Hopefully this helped you guys out. Yeah. If it didn't, if you think our list is terrible, if you would rank them differently, guys, if you loved it, anything, please let us know. Leave it in the comment section. We're always learning. We did our research. We did the best we can to make this list for you guys, but we're human. We make mistakes. So if you guys have other ideas, now share with us what teams are working for you, what Zeta leaders are working for you to help us out, to help our guild out. Please let us know down in the comment section, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We are The High Ground. This is Zuko.
I'm Exum. And we'll see you guys on the next one.
Yeah. Over, Anakin! I have the high ground!
You underestimate my power!
Don't try it! High ground! You were supposed to destroy the Sith, not join them! High ground! I loved you! High ground! High ground. It's not the high ground way. I mean the Jedi way. You know what I'm saying. I'm saying I've beaten you, and I'm on the high ground, so... High ground!